Yolanda is telling people around her that Zayn struck her. Yolanda is extremely upset, and it has caused issues with Zayn and Gigi. The source adds that Gigi was not there when the alleged incident transpired, and she's had to listen to both sides of the story. But when this flu just hit you like a truck, like joint pain, tired, fluish, coughing, and then it would go away for a couple of days, and I would think I got it, and then it would hit again. But I wasn't very conscious at that time. I was such a driven, multitasking, social butterfly, my kids, carpool lane, building a house. Like I was in this crazy stage of my life where I was just juggling 100 things at once and just hard-headed, pushing through whatever symptoms I had. Nearly $5 million on treatments that doctors say don't work. Her husband told her, "Your sick card is up," and divorced her. And now medical experts are saying her diagnosis was fake from the beginning. Yolanda Hadid's Lyme disease story just got exposed, and what I'm about to reveal is absolutely shocking. You know Yolanda Hadid as the former model and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, the mother of supermodels, the woman who spent years battling what she called chronic Lyme disease on national television. But that's not the whole story. Behind the scenes, medical experts questioning her diagnosis, a husband who abandoned her when she needed him most, children who allegedly have the same disease, and treatments so questionable that doctors call them complete quackery. This is the real story of Yolanda Hadid's controversial illness, and it's messier than you could imagine. Let's go back to 2012. Yolanda was living her dream life, married to Grammy-winning music producer David Foster, raising 3 gorgeous children, starring on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and then she got sick. According to her memoir Believe Me, Yolanda was diagnosed with Lyme disease based on an IgM test. She claimed she had chronic neurological Lyme disease. But here's where things get complicated. Medical experts say that IgM test is not appropriate for diagnosing Lyme disease because it gives false positives all the time. The CDC clearly states that Lyme disease is treatable with antibiotics in the early stages. Most patients recover completely within weeks if caught early. But Yolanda, she claimed to have chronic Lyme disease, a condition that medical organizations say doesn't actually exist as she described it. Yolanda's symptoms started just 1 year into her marriage with David. She experienced brain fog, severe tiredness, anxiety, headaches, and muscle weakness. In January 2015, she revealed on Instagram that she had lost the ability to read, write, or even watch TV because of the illness. Think about that. A former supermodel who built a career on being sharp and professional suddenly couldn't perform basic tasks. Here's where Yolanda's story becomes really controversial. According to US Weekly, David Foster spent nearly $5 million on Yolanda's treatments over 4 years. $5 million. And what did that money buy? Yolanda saw over 100 doctors in 11 different countries. She tried treatment after treatment, procedure after procedure. In December 2012, Yolanda had a port implanted in her arm to receive intravenous medications. She removed it in April 2013 after it didn't help. She went through what she called a brutal 3-month course of 4 antibiotics. In an interview with Dr. Oz, she said, "It was like probably what hell looks like. I mean, it was just so intense, sweating on the bathroom floor just praying to get through that time." But here's the problem. That was 3 times longer than the recommended treatment for actual Lyme disease, and science-based doctors say it didn't help because she likely didn't have real Lyme disease to begin with. Medical experts looked at this list and called it classic chronic Lyme quackery. These are fake diagnoses given by doctors who prey on desperate patients. Yolanda even revealed she was treated with frog venom. Yes, you read that correctly, frog venom. She spent millions on treatments that have no scientific backing, and she got sicker, not better. As Yolanda's health declined, so did her marriage. David Foster married Yolanda in 2011. They seemed perfect together. He was a legendary music producer. She was a gorgeous former model. They had a blended family with his 5 children and her 3 kids. But by 2015, everything fell apart. In her memoir, Yolanda revealed that David told her, "Your sick card is up." That's a brutal thing to say to someone claiming to be chronically ill. David allegedly said he was done being her caregiver. He couldn't handle the constant focus on her illness anymore. In December 2015, Yolanda and David announced their separation after 4 years of marriage. They had been together for 9 years total. Yolanda told Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live that she was blindsided by the divorce. "I didn't think that was the end of the road. I would have hoped to wait until I got 100% well. But David had enough." A source told Page Six that David felt everything revolves around her and her illness. It's become the biggest narrative of her show. Another source told Page Six that David and his family think Yolanda just loves the attention of being sick. They believe she's exaggerating her condition. And they point out that she's never gotten a legit diagnosis or a second or third opinion. David issued a statement saying, "I have been by Yolanda's side over the past 4 years to the best of my ability as she battled with the complexities of her Lyme diagnosis." But the truth, he left. Their divorce was finalized in October 2017. And just months after leaving Yolanda, David started dating Catherine McPhee, who is 35 years younger than him. They married in June 2019 and had a baby in February 2021. So David left his sick wife and immediately got with a much younger woman. The optics were terrible. In October 2015, Yolanda made a shocking announcement at the Global Lyme Alliance Gala. Her 2 youngest children, Bella and Anwar Hadid, were also diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. Yolanda said, "When my 2 youngest children, Bella and Anwar, were diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease in early 2012, watching my babies struggle in silence in order to support me in my journey struck the deepest core of hopelessness inside of me." Wait, 2 of her 3 kids have the exact same rare chronic condition. What are the odds? Bella Hadid became a supermodel despite allegedly battling this debilitating disease. She walks runways, she travels internationally, she does photo shoots. Anwar also models. He seems fine in public appearances, but Yolanda insists they're suffering. In September 2025, Yolanda posted photos of Bella in a hospital bed with 4 tubes claiming she'd undergone a month of treatment. Critics question, if Bella is so sick, how is she one of the highest paid models in the world? How does she maintain such a demanding career? The same questions apply to Yolanda. During her time on Real Housewives, she looked healthy some days and sickly others. She could attend some events, but not others. Her castmates questioned her. Lisa Rinna was particularly skeptical. The other women whispered about whether Yolanda was faking it for attention. Here's what makes Yolanda's story so controversial. The medical community largely rejects the concept of chronic Lyme disease as she describes it. Real Lyme disease exists. It's caused by bacteria from tick bites. It's treated with antibiotics. Most people recover completely. But chronic Lyme disease, as promoted by certain doctors, that's different. The CDC, Infectious Diseases Society of America, and American Academy of Neurology all say there's no scientific evidence for persistent Lyme infection after proper antibiotic treatment. What Yolanda calls chronic Lyme disease, mainstream medicine calls post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, PTLDS. And PTLDS is much rarer and doesn't require ongoing aggressive treatments. The doctors Yolanda saw are called Lyme-literate doctors. They're controversial figures who diagnose almost everyone with chronic Lyme and prescribe expensive and proven treatments. These doctors use tests that aren't accepted by mainstream medicine. They diagnose multiple co-infections that don't actually exist. They prescribe long-term 4 antibiotics that can be dangerous. A scientific analysis of Yolanda's diagnosis found that based on an IgM test alone, her diagnosis was likely a false positive. The test she relied on is known for giving incorrect results. The 24 different diagnoses on her chart, medical experts call that co-infection confusion, common in the chronic Lyme community. The more entrenched patients become in this world, the more fake diagnoses they collect. During seasons 5 and 6 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Yolanda's illness became the main storyline. Viewers watched as she went from perfectly made up and energetic to pale, exhausted, and barely functioning on camera. But her castmates were suspicious. Lisa Vanderpump questioned why Yolanda could attend some events, but not others. Why did she look healthy in some Instagram photos, but sick on the show? Kyle Richards was confused by the fluctuating symptoms. Lisa Rinna was the most vocal skeptic. She openly questioned Yolanda's diagnosis and suggested she might be exaggerating. The women accused Yolanda of being inconsistent. They pointed out that chronic illness patients with real diagnoses don't usually have symptoms that change so dramatically day to day. Yolanda was furious. She told her castmates in one episode, "Your skepticism is an insult to my integrity." She positioned herself as a victim of cruel women who didn't understand invisible illness. But the medical evidence suggests her castmates might have been right to question her. Munchausen is, and I don't want to cry to even say this out loud, but it's something that people could create if they might not be sick, but they make themselves sick. You still know my body is strong enough to do it, though. I'm not sure why you didn't call me if you had another issue or tell me what's going on. I'll call you if I had another issue. You kidding me? After all the love you put out in the universe, I have to call you to see if there's anything going on. In 2019, Yolanda announced that her Lyme disease was in remission. Remission. After years of claiming it was chronic and incurable, suddenly she's better. In a 2021 Vogue interview, Yolanda said, "I'm doing really well at the moment. Knock on wood." As you know, there is no known cure for chronic Lyme disease. So being in remission is a blessing I cherish every day. She claims her new normal is slower and more in tune with who she is. But critics point out, if chronic Lyme doesn't exist, as mainstream medicine says, what went into remission? Yolanda moved on romantically. In May 2020, she started dating Joseph "Joey" Gingoli, a CEO of a construction company. They got engaged in August 2024. But on June 5, 2025, Yolanda announced she ended the engagement just 9 months later. She's now focusing on being a grandmother. Yolanda frequently posts about spending time with her granddaughter. She still advocates for Lyme disease awareness. She still claims Bella and Anwar struggle with it daily. Yolanda Hadid is opening up about her battle with Lyme disease and how it nearly destroyed her while promoting her new book, Believe Me. Yolanda reflected on her difficult medical journey, telling people there was a lot of internal learning to do about myself because I'm such a fighter that I used to just keep getting up and doing my thing. I had to surrender to what was going on in that moment, which was I needed rest. The former Real Housewife went on to describe her confusion surrounding the condition, revealing that doctors initially diagnosed her with chronic fatigue syndrome. She said, "In the beginning stages, you just go, okay. You were taught to believe the doctors are always right. So whatever the doctor said, I just went, oh, I'm fine. So you keep pushing, and then days turn into weeks turn into months, and months turn into years." Finally, after experiencing migraines so severe that she had to be kept in isolation in addition to suffering bizarre dark circles around her eyes, Yolanda sought treatment in Belgium where she was officially diagnosed with Lyme disease. Volleyball is a very masculine sport. Modeling is a very feminine thing. And that means sometimes we have to give up things that we love to do. You know, you have to make a choice. Modeling is my job. Volleyball is my sport. Their bodies are big and bulky, and I mean, they eat like men. I wanted her to develop as a woman. But the medical controversy follows her everywhere. Yolanda Hadid's story is complicated. It's possible she genuinely believes she had chronic Lyme disease. It's possible she was a victim of unethical doctors who gave her false hope. But it's also possible she fell into a community that validated her symptoms and gave her attention regardless of whether the diagnosis was real. She spent $5 million. She destroyed her marriage. She raised her children believing they had the same debilitating illness. She became the face of chronic Lyme advocacy. And medical science says it was probably all based on a false positive test. David Foster moved on. He's happily married to Catherine McPhee. He has a young son. He's living his life. Yolanda is single again after ending her engagement. She's a grandmother. She's still advocating for an illness that mainstream medicine says doesn't exist as she describes it. The truth? We may never know for sure what Yolanda actually experienced, but the medical evidence suggests she was a victim of quack doctors who exploited her vulnerability. That's the tragic reality of Yolanda Hadid's story. And it's worse than anyone wants to admit. Do you think Yolanda really had chronic Lyme disease, or was she a victim of fake doctors? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into controversial reality TV stories, smash that subscribe button. Because trust me, there are so many more to uncover. This was the shocking truth about Yolanda Hadid's Lyme disease controversy, and it's messier than anyone realized.